Hey guys, welcome back to the His and Hers the Truth podcast. This is my beautiful wife.
Sim, great seeing everyone again, and thank you for joining our channel.
Yes, welcome back, guys. My name is Tuan. Right, guys, subscribe to the channel, smash that like button, turn on the notification bell, right? Quit shadow watching out there.
No
I
more
know
shadow
once
watching.
again, the subscription count hasn't really gotten higher than we would hope, guys. So come on, let's get that subscription channel pushed up there, push our content out in the algorithm, because as you guys know, this type of content is always getting suppressed, guys. As you know, the truth is always getting suppressed. And as you guys can see too, just in general, when anybody speaks the truth,
Yeah.
you talk about Tate's Fresh and Fit. I mean, Nick Fuentes, even Destiny, Zerka, all those guys, Sneeko, right? You notice that their content pretty much they either get banned. So guys, for freedom of speech, and obviously just to promote obviously the truth as well, subscribe to this channel, help us push this thing. Okay, guys, today we're going to be doing part two, right, of the last video that we reacted to, honey.
Yes.
And the title of that video was Affirmative Action versus Race Neutral Admissions. And guys, this had to do with the whole recent, right, the SCOTUS, right, the Supreme Court of the United States, abolishing the whole affirmative action mandates, right? So now, as Asians, there's no, obviously, I won't say it's a restriction, but there is kind of a penalty, right, in terms of our test scores.
Yeah.
And then, of course, this holistic thing where they were, judging kind of our personality traits. Okay. Yeah. So, this was from also the Washington State Journal, right? I believe, guys. So, hey, this part two, let's begin.
In the 90s, Californians voted for Proposition 209, which banned public universities from considering race. Zach Bleemer conducted a massive study in California, following students that applied before and after Prop 209. Looking at where they eventually enrolled, graduated, and then at their wage statements.
So you can see, so long as they stay in the state of California, where they work and how much they earn all the way through 2020, 25 years almost after the affirmative action ban was implemented.
What he found was that Black and Hispanic enrollments at more selective schools, like Berkeley, dramatically fell when they couldn't include race in their admissions process. Moderately selective schools had almost no change, but enrollment at less selective schools actually rose. Because most Black and Hispanic students didn't not go to college, they just went to less esteemed ones.
You got this cascade effect of Black and Hispanic students on average enrolling at a university that's just a little bit less selective than the universities they used to have access to. Kids who used to go to Berkeley are now going to UC Davis. Kids who used to go to UC Davis are now going to UC Santa Cruz. What happened is pretty substantial negative ramifications for these students.
They became less likely to earn STEM degrees, less likely to go to graduate school. Those with the lowest GPA and test scores became less likely to even graduate. And overall, Black and Hispanic students earned less in their careers than those admitted before Prop 209.
One thing we've learned from affirmative action bans is that the kids who are admitted to...
Okay.
That just shows.
So what do you think about that, honey? So, guys, it was a really good case study in California. In essence, that's what they were showing, right? So it's some 1997, 98 is when California banned it. So they banned it before the whole Supreme Court did it, right? And this is true of most things, right? States have kind of their own say, except for that whole, abortion thing, right? But anyways, guys, 97, and the stats obviously showed that when that happened, now that you were based on your test scores, the ethnicities that obviously statistically score lower on the test scores weren't admitted to college. So what do you think about that? Honey? Just from looking at it from an objective standpoint, now that these kids weren't getting help from the affirmative action, they weren't able to get to the higher
little ride. Yeah, they're not getting the free ride anymore. Now
so
that
what do you think about that?
Well, now that they're not really getting partial free ride, now it's more complicated. They're not, you know what I mean? Like, hey, I thought it's just because of my ethnicity, when they were basing on that and then trying to just get in to just fill the seat, they were okay. They got a little free ride. But now they realize, hey, we're not getting the free ride. Now it's your test scores and all the other stuff, criterias that need to be involved. Now they're not doing so well. So
yeah.
Now that the truth is coming out, now you can see the results.
Correct. And one thing I would like to mention, because the second part of that stat, right? The second part of the stat where they said, okay, now, the Hispanic and Black kids, they weren't going into STEM fields, right? The Black and the Hispanic kids, they weren't getting as much higher paying jobs
Yeah.
because of these things. I think they tried to kind of paint that in a very biased
yeah.
situation, guys, because as we know,
Mm-hmm.
as we historically know, even with affirmative action in all the other states, this is just one state, this is just California. But as we know, in a totality of America, those two ethnicities don't make that much money anyways. We talked about this in another video, right, guys, where Asians were the highest earning ethnicities. And this says it debunked the whole gender thing, the whole gender pay gap as well too, because Asian women
also make
earned higher
more.
than white men,
And Hispanic.
and they had the highest, like, in terms of
Men.
of rate of increase,
Yep.
right? And so, like I was telling you guys, it was just that now that, like my wife was saying, the truth is exposed. You weren't qualified to do that to begin with, and the only way you were going to actually make it was because you needed a handout.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I don't feel bad about it, right? If you want to do it, I like I said, I don't want to get to, but imagine if Asian people had handouts and other things. Do you think we could get into other things, or is it because we're doing so well in one field already that you guys don't want to help us out?
Nope.
Right?
More selective universities, as a result of race-based affirmative action, tend to receive greater value from those institutions in terms of the degree to which those institutions lead them to more successful jobs or more success generally in the labor market than the whiter Asian students who tend to take their places after the end of affirmative action programs.
Bleemer has also studied the effects of what's called race-neutral admissions policies, which can include outreach and income-based admissions, as has Georgetown University. They both found the same result.
It seems like all of these race-neutral alternatives that universities can implement have a tendency toward increasing the diversity of campuses, but they don't get you anywhere close to the level of racial diversity that's provided by race-based affirmative action.
Harvard said if it were to not include race in their holistic review, Black and Hispanic enrollment will decline by almost half. Berkeley, even though it has made strides since Prop 209 to enroll more Hispanic students, the Black student population is still below where it was when it could consider race in admissions.
I think we'll see declines in Black and Hispanic enrollment, potentially in some cases quite severe declines in the next couple of years. And as a result, you're going to have this sort of downward shift, Black and Hispanic students enrolling at less selective schools than they had access to previously. There's no clear silver bullet for such universities just to maintain diversity as it is right now.
Okay, guys, so that was the end of the video, and I have a lot to say, but I wanted my wife, of course, to say first, right? So what will you think? There was a very telltale sign at the end there, honey, what the main objective of affirmative action was again. Do you remember what that was?
Yeah, to give an opportunity.
No,
to
but specifically,
Black and, you know.
but no, but just specifically, what was its main objective? Yes, it just happened that Blacks and Hispanics was the ethnicity, but what was the main objective of affirmative action?
Just
Forced diversity. That was the whole thing. Like, you notice that he didn't say anything. Yes, he talked about it to try to, make it
sugarcoat it.
Well, not sugarcoat it, but to try to make a point for it, right? Like make an argument for it, because obviously he was saying like Hispanic and Blacks, they didn't get into the higher paying jobs, and obviously they weren't able to get into like the different career fields. But you notice at the end, he was just talking about diversity as a whole. So forced diversity, guys.
Yeah.
What do you think about that, honey? Because I have my thoughts. What do you think about that?
It doesn't work. It doesn't work. You're people being forced, you're just taking, their rights away from them. When you're forcing diversity, it just shows already that if you're good, at what you do,
You're getting
it doesn't
to
matter. You're still,
Correct.
it comes out, you're still going to be on the top. Truth is the truth.
Yep.
No matter what you did, whether you did it from what we did before, where you did a select thing and, getting people in, and then, with the grade thing, brackets, and then, it still doesn't work out. It still doesn't work out. Truth is truth. They still did well once they came out.
Well, and I'll show you I'll tell you guys all the information to why it didn't work out, right? One, those two stats, even though they try to spin it in a negative light, it literally proved what my wife was kind of alluding to. She didn't do, obviously a great job of explaining it. But I'll tell you guys right now, it proved that these people weren't qualified, because without these handouts, without this assistance, they didn't make it. And guys, they didn't even make it in the lesser schools.
Yeah.
It said there that a majority of them, less of them started graduating from college. So if you weren't able to even graduate from the lesser selective schools,
Yeah.
how are you able to graduate
Definitely.
from the more selective schools? Okay. And then the other thing, guys, is the forced diversity thing, right? I don't think anybody should be for forced diversity. Think about it. Where does that lead, that trail end? It sounds great. I told you guys this on the first part of this video, right? Right? The road to hell is paved with good intention, right? So is every field need to have diversity? That's what I'm trying to tell you guys. I mean, we talk about sports in the last video. We talk about entertainment. We talk about office. Pretty much like my wife was saying, you're forcing people who are qualified to not be in those fields because now you took a person that wasn't qualified and gave them assistance to be qualified. Do you think the level of performance of any industry would go up if that happened? No, right? If you get less qualified people in a job or in a career and in an industry,
It's dangerous.
that level of performance is going to drop.
That's what I'm saying. It's dangerous.
Right? So you're not improving the system once again just for the goal of diversity. The other thing they didn't seem to point, because like I said, they tried to, guys, it's a race thing. This whole thing, that's the reason why I'm not for it, because it's a race thing, right? They're trying to push blacks specifically and then Hispanics as well into more of these arenas, right? But one thing they always try to talk about, oh, Asians, right? This is the case that I've heard on many videos. So guys, hey, out there who disagree with me, right? Or
Start
other
typing
content
comments.
creators who disagree with me. This is your argument that you guys always argue back. Oh, well, guys, they were looking at more than just your grades, right? So actually we're hurting Asian people because they were looking at your guys' own personal qualities. And like, that's such BS, guys, because I told you on the last video, how do they rate our personal qualities? They said that we were timid, we were not outgoing, we were not leaders, right? We were not personable. And because those scores were negative, more Asians were not allowed into those things, okay? And it shows, guys, because if you guys look at the stats, right? If you look at the totality of affirmative action, not just California, right? But if you look at the totality and if you see that when affirmative action was introduced, yes, blacks went up slightly because once again, guys, they're just not qualified for the test scores. Hispanics went up fairly significantly, but you'll notice that Asians have been steady throughout the whole years. So if you're trying to tell me, if you're trying to make an argument that it helped Asian people out to qualify, how did it when it didn't really increase?
It didn't change.
It didn't increase.
Change much.
So all that tells me is that our Asian brothers and sisters had to even step up even harder. We made it such a hard time for these schools to not give us an opportunity, right? Because think about it, guys, this, it's a stereotype and it's a joke, right? But we have so many Asian people that score high in test scores and in these things. That's the reason why these colleges are overwhelmed with the applications. And so they couldn't even reduce our numbers to do that.
And we just keep on coming back. That's
Right.
how it is. We're strong people. And the thing is that, what we're trying to say is, you know what? You guys are all having opportunity. I don't care what race or whatever else background, but it's on ability. If you don't, that's like telling my kids, hey, you're going to go here to Harvard, but if he doesn't qualify, I'm not going to use that race thing and say, hey, you know what? Now you're just discriminating. No. If you suck ball, you suck balls.
Yeah.
That's the key bottom line. You can't just sugarcoat things. Think about it. You put say this guy that's less qualified in the medical field, he's struggling, his grade sucks, but you know what? Because of his race, you're going to try to push him in into doing it, but he still suck balls. Well, think about it. Say if he passed just with 0.001 he passed, right? Now, would you put your life in his hands when the guy that's really qualified, you just suppressed
if
him?
it was a surgeon, a pilot that was flying your airplane.
There you go.
Right? We talk about it all the time. Police officers needing better training, firefighters that need better training. We talk about with gender, right? Women that aren't physically qualified to do these jobs, they're lowering the standards.
You need qualifications.
Right? You need certain qualifications to be
Criteria.
able
Meet the
to
criteria.
fulfill these jobs, right?
Yeah.
And guys, hey, if I'm fighting for my Asians and brothers and sisters, I get it, guys. I get it as an ethnicity. If we were giving a handout, of course we're going to fight. But there's one thing I have to, like I say, really respect about our culture and our ethnicity is, for the most part, we don't ask. We don't want handouts.
Nope.
Right? We just want to be, right, judged on our merits.
Yeah.
Right?
What we earn.
And so I really love that. But the one thing, this goes back to the truth, right? Because I have to come all the way back, guys, and end this video on the truth, right? Is that you guys have, unfortunately, the victim mindset with the dating market, right?
Yeah.
With our Asian sisters, that you guys call loos or bananas because, they're yellow on the outside but white on the inside, right? And what you guys don't get is it's not an ethnicity thing.
It's your traits.
You are not qualified. Your merits, your metrics are not qualified for women in general, right? So just like this affirmative action thing, the difference is you're not going to get a handout anytime. There's going to be no affirmative action for you guys on the truth.
On the dating thing.
Right?
You got to up your game.
Yeah, that's the whole point. The truth is about dating, because to even get the opportunity to mate and have a kid, right, and pursue the truth, you got to be able to attract the girl.
Yep.
And so there's no affirmative action for my Asian brothers, guys. There's no one going to be saying, oh, hey, because you're shorter, you're going to get, $5,000 more a month. Or, we're going to pay you money so that way it increases your financial score, right? Or, hey, we'll create some status for you. We'll give you some fame and make you a social celebrity because, you're short. Never going to happen, guys. We got to get this for ourselves, okay?
Do you want me to be honest? Half the time when I see the Asian brothers out there, or partial sisters, whatever else, okay, you guys make good money, okay? You love to say that you've earned it, you worked hard, you bust your butt. Hey, I applaud you. If you graduated from the top 10 tier, you worked hard, you bust your butt, you studied hard. But the thing is, what your parents didn't teach you is, besides just studying, you need to work on yourself. Your health is not that great. You're not exercising. You're not active in other things, right? You're not focused. All your parents told you is focus on studies and you'll get everything else. Well, guess what? And that's where it's wrong, because not every girl just wants to see a smart guy. She also wants to see if you're good in hygiene and everything else.
My wife is 100%, but the word that you use wrong there, honey, is not every woman. No, guys. It's not even that close. Like, my wife is just trying to be nice to you guys. Yeah, it's honestly the majority. If you want to say 90% or more of women nowadays, they want all those other attributes.
Yeah, a lot of other packages.
Okay, so don't be like, oh, I'm gonna find this girl. Like I said, like this whole lie that we've been told. There's someone out there for you. No, there isn't, guys.
Yeah.
Right? You need to become better.
Yeah.
Take this affirmative action as a learning lesson. I told you guys on the last video, our fight is not over. Right? You want to be the best, you got to improve every avenue, every metric.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. So that's the lesson, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Check us out the next time. See you guys later.
Bye.
Peace. Join us as we give you guys a glimpse into our lives, give you guys advice, hopefully give you guys entertainment value as well too, and provide you guys better outcomes.
Yes.